How familiar are you with the Constitution? The Constitution, how familiar are you with the Constitution? How your role that is stated in the Constitution, the role of the Central Planning Committee and all of that, how familiar are you with that?
So, for the role of the organizing secretary in the Constitution state, the organizing secretary serves as the chairperson for the Central Planning Committee and also sees to the planning of and execution of events as well.
All right. So what do you believe is the primary responsibility of the organizing secretary? The primary. The primary.
Planning and execution of events.
In charge of planning and execution of events. Okay, so the Central Planning Committee, I hope there will be reps from each institution. So when you finally have your Central Planning Committee and then your committee member fails to do the assigned job you give them, what are you going to do as the organizing secretary and then the chairperson for the committee? Let me clarify. You see, sometimes when you are being elected as the organizing secretary, we sometimes
you think that will solve the problem. So how sure are you if you demote or sack the person, you're going for another person, that the new person is going to do the job, or when the new person comes in and give you the work, you sack that person? Yes. Oh.
when you are giving an elected budget organizing events, elected budget organizing impactful events for UniMAC institutions, how are you going to go about it? Are you going to say, as an organizing secretary, I can't organize this event, that's my money, or you are having an organized event? What do you mean?
Yes,
then you go for an artist, an A artist, or you go for stone boy. So the money allocated to you,
the money allocated for you to have stone boy for the student body, or that is what the student body wants. That particular day, maybe something comes up. Stone boy is taking an amount, the SRC didn't give you that particular amount. As the organizing secretary, that you are supposed to serve the student body and give them the experience, what will you do?
So with this,
Should I repeat the question? I am saying that when you are given a limited budget, but I want to give you a practical example. For instance, there is SRC week, there is a lot of events and all of that, and then there is artist night, and they give you an amount of money. You have a budget for that the whole week. The money allocated to the artist, an A artist, students want A artists, they want to have the experience and all of that. But then that particular day, something comes up. As the organizing secretary, you still have to give students the experience they want and all of that. Are you going to hold on, tell the student body that at the latter part of it, the artist night is cancelled, or you go ahead and then give the experience to the student? What are you going to do when the budget is limited, but the event has to go on?
so with this, I'm not going to cancel the artist night itself, but we'll make sure with the amount I have, I will provide the artist that I will be able to get, and also let the student know that because of this and this, we are not able to provide the artist that they were expecting.
Okay, my final question. Can you please walk us through how you plan an event successfully? Just walk us through the process to plan an event, the people you collaborate with, you work with, and all of that. Just briefly walk us through it.
Okay, so
Yes. A step-by-step procedure, how you plan and execute an event. You have planning and execution. You plan and you execute an event, a successful event, where students would attend, not the event you go on and you see 5 TV students there.
So I'll plan about the event I want to organize, which will be of the student. So one will be the So I will organize an educational summit for the students, and also
You said you organize an educational summit. No, I'm not saying mention an event, a name of an event. I'm saying that just walk us through the procedure you will take to plan and execute an event. So it's like the planning process, the execution process, not in any particular order.
Do you understand the question very well?
That how are we doing this vetting? Oh, first of all, I'll go and print nomination papers. I'll print score sheet. I'll speak to my candidates, and then at the end, I'll speak to my panel, like something like that. So just give us how you are going to go about it. That's all.
So I'll first speak to the executive that this is the event I want to do. Then also make sure to get my budget for that, and the people we will invite on board, and how to get the students involved.
Okay. So I have so many questions, but I will limit it to one. And it's just a scenario. I want the practical aspect of how you are going to put into use the office you want to be voted to. So, as the organizing secretary of UniMAC, you organize an entertainment event. So on that day,
take like SRC a week with the band, what will you do? It's a scenario. I'm saying you are the organizing secretary and you put up an entertainment event. A lot of people do. So how to the start of the event? You saw sorry. You saw other colleagues of yours selling infused drink, maybe soda or even infused ice cream. Do you know what infused drinks
are? Those drinks that are infused with weed. You get it? Just recently, another institution, you heard what happened. They were arrested. Yes, I don't want to mention it. And in that situation,
and that will be the latter part of the event. A guy and another guy had a confrontation about the lady. Then there was a stabbing. How do you handle such crisis? In such situations, make sure you mention the key stakeholders you are going to involve them in this scenario, and make sure that the school's name wouldn't be run in mud or even the media where people it was escalating and the school's name would be ruined totally. How will you handle this?
So in this event like this, you always have those who are in charge of vendors. So first, once there was or someone who sold the this drink to them, our first hold the vendor responsible, and also the students who are involved in the act, make sure that executives will handle them and also put them in order.
Can you handle pressure? You've not demonstrated it. This is a crisis issue. You are the organizing secretary. You put up this great event, but it ended up this way. Handle it the best way you can. Your president, yes, let's have a meeting to resolve this issue before management will resolve. Because once management, it gets to management, SRC will buy them.
Okay. How do you pronounce your name? Alright, my last question for you. What do you know about pre-event and post-event feedback, and how are you going to utilize that in your administration?
Best plan about how the event will go then. How the event will go.
Do you know it or not? So I'm asking, this sometimes organizations want to organize events for individuals. They will share questionnaires across student body. Which artists are you expecting? What are your expectations for these events and all that, right? And after the event, they ask for satisfaction. Were you okay with the program? What are the things that you think should be done or shouldn't happen? That's it. So in your case, I'm asking, how are you going to use this strategy in your administration? All right. So we are going to take 2 questions from the audience here, and we take 2 questions from our online audience as well. So if you have a question, just raise your hand.
This is the camera, yeah. Thank you.
So about the master class course, are you certain that it's not an exchange like thing that you want to do? Because you said that with IG, we have tilted more towards the theoretical aspect, and then for IST, they do more of the practical stuff, and you want us to come together. So they're together, and so like learn from each other and all that. So I'm asking you, is it like an exchange program? You want IST students to come to UniMAC IG, I mean the IG campus, come and learn the theoretical aspect, and then learn their practical aspect. Is that what you said or no? So it's not a master class now, it's an exchange like program. Is that it? It's an exchange.
I will invite expertise.
My name is Dr. Joe. I have 2 questions.
At least one question per person.
After he's been discharged, you can meet him out of the
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, based on the experience I have organizing events on campus 4 years now, moving from assistant organizing secretary to the main and to the event planner. My question is, if you calculate this 4 years in my events and every SRC event, there is a beef between the SRC president and the organizing secretary. Anytime the organizer poses events, the SRC president wants to bring the events down. He feels like he has the power over the events. And it's not easy, it has happened over years. Every school has that issue. So you coming into power, what are you going to bridge that gap where the SRC president who understand your vision and what, because when SRC president was coming to power, he had his vision, he also had his vision. But just when he came into power, you guys need to work together. So with those issues, he thinks he wants to do more than you. He also wants to show that he knows more than you. What is that for that to bridge that gap? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Very good. So, if such issue happens, I'll just let the president understand why I want to organize the event and also want him to know how impactful the student is. So I think with that, yeah, that will make it convince to the president. Give me that. We go ahead to organize the event.
Okay, that's enough. So my thing is, students after the attend SRC programs. My question is, student safety after they attend SRC programs. So after I recent SRC, we heard that it wasn't confirmed, but we heard that someone was attacked upon returning home during the interval. So I want to ask, okay, was confirmed, yes. So I want to ask you what you will do to the, because you are organizing a program, you expect the numbers to be there. I want to ask you, what are you doing towards that?
Okay, so student safety is also needed. So it is, with your example, I also make sure after the event, or you see with your example, it depends on the time we will close the event. Let's take the artist 9 days. We will close somehow around 2 3 o'clock. So I make sure the event will come to an end at the time students can get home safe. Yeah, so if we host an event around 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., I think it will help us in
Hello. Yeah, I can't pronounce the topic. So let's say we are done. Have you ever engaged yourself in any form of examination or practice behind it? No. Okay. Your last word.
So I will encourage every student to so I would like to take my present into consideration. Also, if I pass the vetting through them, they can give me their own based on my policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Branch Judge. Okay, so the panel will go on and rest. Hello. Hi. So the panel will go in 5 minutes.
Pledge to conduct
I pledge to conduct
myself with honesty,
myself with honesty,
integrity,
integrity,
respect throughout this electoral process.
throughout this electoral process.
I affirm
I affirm
that I will abide
that I will abide
by the rules and decisions
by the rules and decisions
of the Electoral Commission,
of the Electoral Commission
and uphold the values
and uphold the values
of fairness and good leadership.
of
I make this oath freely,
I make this oath freely,
in good faith,
in good faith,
and without reservations.
and without
Reservations. So help me God.
So, thank you. My name is Daniel Francisco. Okay, I think I'm the best to occupy the position of the next SRC as organizing secretary because, as stipulated in the constitution, anybody who decides to pick up a position in the SRC is supposed to come up with policies that are being centered on academics, professionalism, and social life. When you go through my policies and the intention I have for the entire student body, I think I'm fit to occupy that position.
How will you rate the current
With the entire office of the organizing secretary, I'm going to read them and read.
Okay, so give us your reasons.
So my reason for rating Mr. Prince as 6 is because over the years, anybody who has occupied the position of the organizing secretary had prior experience. Let me use Don T for example. Don T worked with YFM. Don T is actively in organizing projects. Sally was affiliated to a good organization. I don't know of Mr. Prince. That is why I'm rating him a 6. But when you look at external as the organizing secretary, the team we had was very great. And they were able to pull up, a good performance. So I rate the whole team 8. But personally for Mr. Prince, I'm going to rate him a 6.
Okay, that's fine. So, to your policy, right? Your policy number 2 about connecting UniMAC to create opportunities.
Yes,
Said
so
you will strengthen collaborations with other tertiary institutions through joint projects, activities, networking, academic development. So what are you going to do here?
okay, so
Give us practical examples. What exactly? Not like examples. State what you are going to do. The network collaboration. What activities are you going to do?
so that policy is referred to as the Beyond UniMAC
initiative. Now, under this policy, I seek to make sure that UniMAC students have a nice relationship or a mutually beneficial relationship between other tertiary institutions, because we find ourselves in the tertiary sector of education. So it is equally right that as UniMAC students, we are able to connect with other students. Now, when I speak of networking, I think, was it this year or last year, there was a debate between UniMAC and UPSA and one other school. I think if we have more projects like that, it helps you solidify UniMAC not only as the best communication school by mouth, but it's also evidence that other schools can also testify to that, because when we have these network programs, we'll be able to learn from each other and grow as a school.
You're talking about debate, tertiary debate.
Yes.
That's because we bring the network.
So it's something that we can do to improve the networking between UniMAC students and other tertiary. Yes, when I'm being elected.
Okay.
I'm not going to do the debate. You asked me to give you realistic examples. So I later
said I don't want examples. I want what you are answering.
Good. So we can have although I'm not the sports commissioner, we can have inter-schools games. When I speak about games, I'm not speaking about football alone. We have other competitive games like chess. All these things are events that can, aside that, we also have seminars that can also connect UniMAC with other tertiary institutions in Ghana and beyond.
Just a follow-up question. You mentioned sports.
Yeah.
So, please, are you aware, not long ago there was mini disciples?
Yes.
Were you present in any of the days? Were you present?
I wasn't present.
Okay. So, did you notice students didn't show up to
Yeah.
support UniMAC?
Yeah.
So, talking about networking, there were a lot of schools there,
Yeah.
a lot of tertiary institutions and all of that. So now, visa games is coming, or regional visa games. What are you going to do? For the networking part you are talking about, what are you going to do?
Okay, so I think before I go on with my submission, I want to commend the current president. He really did a good job with the giving out of souvenirs. It was good PR. A lot of people's attention was drawn to games, but I identified a gap, and that gap is being enshrined in my third policy. That is fast, clear, and effective. That is where I seek to make sure that communication from the SRC and from the administration to students is very clear, it's very concise, and it's precise. So this is the gap that I identified. Prior to that, I feel like if as a school we're hosting more sporting activities, football, whatever, if we're hosting it more often and students were showing up, because most of the players who even play for UniMAC, some of us are not familiar with the faces. So I feel like if we have more of these activities happening within before these external programs or activities are being organized, it's going to get students to be interested. Yes, so this and that.
Okay, so you're talking about organizing more of this, more of that. How do you intend to fund the more of these activities? Because currently I'm hearing rumors that the SRC does not have money, the SRC doesn't have enough money and all that. So if the ones that we are doing now can even have enough funds to fund it completely, how are you going to generate the funds to run all these activities?
So with generating funds, ideally everything that is going to be organized by the SRC is obviously going to come from the students' profits. But aside that, there are other avenues you can explore. We can have sponsorships. Aside that, I think as an executive team, this work is about sacrifice. So as an executive team, because anything that is being organized under the organizing secretary is not really done by the organizing secretary, it's done by the executive council.
So I think as a team, each of the executives that are being vetted today, or those who are going to be eventually, they are ideally supposed to be resourceful individuals. Not as in they should have money, but they should have connections, they should have good networks, so that when it comes to funding projects like this, it can be easy. And another thing I'll also say is that I have, should I say, a philosophy. My philosophy is that UniMAC has to move from the phase where we treat SRC as occupy the position. Just come here. I feel like we should treat SRC as a business. Because when you go to any setup, there has to be a business idea. For example, if you want to partner with an organization, what are you seeking to profit from the organization? And what is the organization also giving to you in return? And funding is not going to be easy, but we'll do our best.
Okay, so aside organizing events and all that, after your tenure, what do you want us to remember you with? This one legacy you are going to leave us with. Aside, Eboston boy, Eboshatabali, yes, we know that. By that, what else are you leaving us with?
Okay.
When you read through the Constitution clearly specifies 3 rules of the organizing secretary. The first one says that the organizing secretary is responsible for coordinating and organizing projects and events for the SRC. So when we say for the SRC, we are not saying that Mr. Daniel Sansi Godwin is organizing a football competition. The gender affairs can have a project, and it's the responsibility of the organizing secretary to support it. Aside that, it's one function of the organizing secretary. The Constitution also says that you are supposed to be the chair to the Central Planning Committee. And the last one says that the organizing secretary is supposed to I don't want to use the word, the Constitution does not say do, but apparently the organizing secretary is supposed to take orders from the president in accordance to the Constitution. So coming back to your president, what did you ask him? Yes, what I want to be remembered for is that I've been an evening student before, I've been a weekend student before, I've been a regular student before, and I've identified a lot of gaps. And I realized that UniMAC students are not actively interested in SRC stuff. So I want to be remembered as the leader who was able to raise the team to increase the interest of students in school activities. When I say activities, projects are part, seminars, there's no really about events. Yes, I wanted to be remembered as that.
We have the constitution as part of the culture.
So when you go through the forms I submitted, at the point where I was asked to declare my affiliations, like in the department, I'm also a parliamentary member. I'm not currently, but I've served as parliamentary member to the Parliamentary Council of
Being part of the Parliamentary Council, what impact have you had?
So, personally, I have attended more than 2 terms of all parliamentary meetings, and at every meeting, I'm very active in contributing to the decision that has to be taken collectively by the Parliamentary Council. So, collectively, I've been able to make an impact, directly or indirectly. I want me to point out to something that I did. Okay, when we go to the parliamentary council on the Thursday, or the house on the Thursday, we call it the house. When we go on the Thursday, we're supposed to elect the chair and the deputy chair. Yes, and I saw some two brilliant individuals, and I rallied behind them.
Don't patronize me. Don't patronize me. He's asking.
So that's my impact. I contributed.
Don't use contribution.
I contributed in appointing the current electing. Forgive me, I'm sorry. I contributed in electing the chair and the deputy chair, which is crucial because if I did not make the right choice as a member, wouldn't have had the individuals we have now, the other members we have now, lead the parliamentary council into the success that we have.
You are not buying that.
Say again.
That's a not. They check it. But supposed to.
Right?
It's like, expected.
Students by them. I was representing on Saturday before. So the people that I represented, I was able to educate them that being an active participant in student politics is very good. And as we speak now, there are lots of people through that advice are interested in picking up roles in the parliamentary house. Yes, so that's an impact on my people. Yes, I told them that it's good to have a voice. It's good to speak out. Yes, when they are interested. So it's an impact on my people. I really liked it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So wait. Back to that. How did you know? Okay, so do you know that having an impact on a group of people is different from you telling them? Right? You can tell me something that, oh, it is good for you to be here, but it may not have any impact on me.
Okay.
So how did you measure the impact? How did you know that, oh, I was able to impact 2 or 3 men in the surgical hall, and this person, if you can point, oh, this person, that person is now interested in student politics because of what I did?
Okay. So I can mention their names, but I
You
don't
mentioned
have...
that there is recording.
Yes, and they've not even given me permission to mention their names.
All right, no problem.
So I can't mention their names, but I know quite a few number of people who are interested in serving the greater UniMAC.
Okay, that's aside. In your view, right, what do you think is one thing that this current organizing secretary is not doing right? That if you are giving the mandate, if you're able to pass through the vetting process and also giving the mandate by the student body, you are going to do better.
Okay, so I'm not going to lie, occupying the position is not an easy task. So when you go through my policies, the first one is about building and organizing team that is being made by the people for the people. So under that policy, and I don't blame the current organizing sector, there has been a trend. When anybody occupies the position of the organizing sector, they try to appoint people they are familiar with. And I think that is something that as an institution or as a school we should drive away, because there are I know a lot of people, students, from weekends to evening to regular students who are very resourceful and can have a great impact when being identified or when being given the chance. But because most of the time we don't have access directly to the organizing secretary, and it's not the organizing secretary's fault. Because they can't get access to him, they tend to, act like, I don't really care about what happens in the school and the SRC and that. So I feel like that is one thing. And it's not only under there's administration. So yes. So that's a gap. It's like communication. They are not able to communicate well as an executive council to the students, but they are doing a great job. But I feel like they can do better.
Okay, so remember when we were supposed to have a program during our primary and then I think the day to the program was called. Yes, without any explanation, we didn't know what happened. We were in their shoes. What we have done.
Good. So you even just answered the question. You said without any information. So who was supposed to make those informations available to the student body? It was the executive council. So that is one. Now the next thing is I also don't blame this executive council because most of the time, and I want to commend the EC for running this election at this point in time. Now this is it.
In any of the answers, please refrain from mentioning the parliamentary, the speaker of parliamentary or the deputy, nor the judiciary, judiciary board. Please refrain. Their answers are patronize us. So stay, just keep going.
So moving on.
Because you have to use another example.
So yes, and I was saying that it wasn't the fault of the current executive council for the inconvenience, but I feel like most of the time over the years when a new executive council is being elected, most of the time it's mostly done after the 100 time of school.
Why were you coming to commend them?
So they did a good job. They are the ones who are putting their leg on the floor that they will let the election come off before the easy how the meeting qualifies and do that. That's all. So it's not entirely their fault, but I feel like as students we were supposed to know the reason why it was called off.
Last question. So I'm hearing complaints from IFT, IO, that everything is always centered in IG, SRC week, IG campaign, Aquaba week, everything is on IG campaign. So, and the chairperson and the organizing secretary, what are you going to do to ensure that this will get evenly distributed across all the teams?
Okay, so I have a couple of theories. The first one is that's why I said when you go through my principles, the first one is to build an organizing team that represents every institution, every club, every hall, every student group. So if we form if I'm being elected and I'm able to form an organizing team that has all these institutions well represented, it means that definitely they don't know, maybe they might not know my face, they might not trust me, but if I'm able to see to it that I have somebody from IFT who is really keen about students concerning IO on my team, definitely whenever we are planning something, that person will always make sure that a portion of what we are planning has that IO touch in it, has that touch of IFT in it. I think the current organizing secretary did that, but I don't know why I didn't work. During the Aquaba week, most of the activities were being assigned to the various institutions. I remember the initiation I was supposed to be done at the IO campus. Yeah, so I think we tried that, but communication didn't really go, like they would have done better with communication. And I also, the second theory is that as a student, we should move away from the executive council always having to, chase us because it's not nice. And I say it on foot. Like I feel like we should be able to build student interest to be ready to act, to be active in getting information. You see, it's also when you go to religion, when you go to that, when you go to KMS, like there are students who are ready.
How will you do that?
How will I do that? Because I have friends there.
How will I do that?
Oh, for UniMAC, like uniting all the institutions together.
What you are saying, said as students, we need to do better. We need to fight for the education.
That was the example that was given. He said I should not use
And I'm saying, you don't need an example. How are you going to ensure, or how are you going to make me as a student now want to get that SRC?
So the first thing I'm going to do is to make sure that I make myself available not only online to students that belong to the individual institute. So regular visits to the IOM campus, regular visits to the IMT campus, regular visits to the IG campus, just to know what goes on a regular day. It helps me to build some trust and awareness between the students and the executive council. Yeah, so that is something that regular visits, aside that, making sure that when information is being put out there, I'm able to get it to all the campuses, either via WhatsApp, online, or in person. So that's something I
Daniel, what's my first time doing your course and I actually go class?
Thank you.
I like your outfit, your aura, and all of that. I want to ask you this. Do you take critics as banter, or you take critics in good faith and improve? For instance, if the president, you bring up execute maybe a proper willingness association. And then there's this particular event that needs to be taken off or that needs to be refined. Your president comes to tell you that, oh, Casio, I think we have to do this, we have to do that. Would you take that as a critic banter? Or you are going to tell your central planning committee, like, I don't know, judge your ideas together to refine? Or you tell the president as he hates you? You take critics in good faith or you take critics as banter?
So I don't take critics as banter. So, but there are some forms of critics that, you see, before you criticize someone, you have to research on what exactly you are coming to point out to the person. And with the example, and I come up with a project. Once again, when you go through the constitution, the organizing secretary does not work alone. The constitution states that you work for the executive council. And when we say we work for the executive council, in line with the constitution, it's not as if you are doing your own thing. But I have understood that as the organizing secretary, for example, UG does not have the organizing secretary for UG is not being elected. He's being appointed by the president. It's here in UST and ourselves that we elect the organizing secretary. So when you take something to the Central Planning Committee, and there's another misconception. There is a difference between the Central Planning Committee and the committee that is being established by the organizing secretary. Per the Constitution, the Central Planning Committee is a committee that is supposed to be chaired by the organizing secretary, but has members of the executive council. So definitely, before any project is being presented to the president, he was already included in the decision making. Okay, if the president asks me to go and draft the outline and bring it to him, I'll make sure that anything I'm putting on paper has the advantage and disadvantage, so that when the president goes through it, he will be able to weigh the ideas. Okay, this will profit the interest of students, this will not profit the interest of students. Then I wouldn't take it as a matter.
Thank you. In the Constitution, what is the role of the organizing?
So I stated it earlier before. So in the Constitution there are three. The Constitution specifies three rules to the organizing. The first one is the organizing. I'm not quoting verbatim. So the first one says that the organizing secretary is responsible for coordinating and organizing projects or activities for the SRC. That's the first one. The second one says that the organizing secretary is supposed to be the chairperson to the central planning committee. And the last one says that the organizing secretary is supposed to function in line with the president in accordance to the constitution. I'm not going to say that that's the best constitution.
Okay, thank you. So, how do you intend to execute and implement the whole?
Which one?
How do you intend to execute and implement your whole policy?
So there are different strategies to implementing each of the 5 policies I'm preaching throughout my campaign. I think the most basic or fundamental form of application is to build a good relationship with the students' body. See, when you're able to build a good relationship with the students' body, any project that the executive council will do out there, they will sell. So that's basically it. Just build a good relationship between the executive council and the student body. And also building a good relationship between the SRC council, the SRC executives and the administration, as well as alumni and other stakeholders in the community. So basically that's it.
Okay. So, which organization, branch have you worked with inside of the institution and then outside of the institution?
Okay, so brands I've worked with, please can I see everything together or I have to? So I've worked with Yango before, I've worked with Silverbird before, I've worked with Chatterhouse before, I've worked with IBG Communications, quite a number of brands. That was all. Or you said project at all? So projects, I've also worked with Hyperina, yes. With projects, I've worked on Ghana Food Festival before, I've worked on the just ended TGMA, I've worked on Miss Malaika, I've worked on Young and Female and Arts Festival, I've worked on Atmosphere, I've worked on Summer Movie Magic, I've worked on yes, many others.
Okay, so working with all these brands and organizations, what tangible impact have you made in UniMAC with all these years you've been in the institution? What tangible impact?
Okay, so
I've been able to help students secure intentions, like personally, secure intentions. When I was in level 100, I had an agency. I was having students across all campuses, IL, IFT, and ID, and we're into digital promotion and stuff like that. And some of them have been able to find a path through that. So they were all students.
My final question, how soon do you intend to implement your policies if you get to know?
Oh, immediately.
Immediately, how soon?
How soon? So it depends on the policy. When we go through my policy documents, there are ones that once I resume the seat as organizing secretary, but there are some that will take. I specified I will take 1 to 30 days. There are ones that I said will be throughout my tenure as organizing secretary. So if it's with regards to the policies, it depends on the exact policy I want to implement. But we will start working immediately. program that will be organized is not for me. Once again, it's for the executive council. You said your program, so it's not my program, it's for the executive council. So moving on to your president, I've been a board leader before, and I've also had a few conversations with student leaders to some of these students' bodies you mentioned. So it's all about getting a good representation for them, having regular meetings with them, having regular conversations. Some of these organizations or student bodies have their own projects. Because of, for example, when it comes to halls, by the constitution, every student is supposed to be in a hall. So definitely, if you pick a hall like Yas Santua, if Yas Santua is organizing an event, it's mostly promoted by Yas Santua, its members, the executives. But when I'm being elected as the organizing secretary, I'm going to make sure that the office of organizing secretary seeks to promote every project that is being run by all halls, all student bodies, all clubs. Yes, so the organizing secretary or the office of will help you. If there are instances where the organizing secretary can provide sponsorship connects for some of these student bodies, why not? We'll make it right. So that is how it turns to the force.
So are you aside or are you in your
when I came to level 100, there was some writers and readers, but the UniMAC SRC was I'm not an active member. I know of KTK. Yeah, they did a donation in last semester. I followed it. So I know quite. I also know. I know a few. I don't remember the exact names, but I know some of the leaders having this course and class.
The issue of getting people from other institutes to be at events. If transportation becomes a challenge between campuses, assuming you are having an event at NAT, IFT, sorry, and I am at IR, I feel like I don't have transport to get there. How are you going to mobilize
Okay, so once again, another reason why students are not really active in attending SRC programs because you don't have hostels on campus or the hostels around campuses not available. So if money is, or if there is money, the executive council, we can, get a balance to bring the school, depending on the project or the event. It depends. We can try. We can also, request for the school bus on these students to the place. I mean, there are a lot of things. For example, we can partner with, most of the time, nowadays when you are going for events or programs, the organizers of the events are able to have a good relationship with each transport system and offer discounts on rides and stuff. So we can work around.
So you make mention that if money be, or if there is money, that's what you said, I'm putting your words. What if there isn't money? You need the numbers. Students wish to come, but transportation is an issue.
Yeah.
So you will not factor that.
No, we should factor it.
No, we are just
No. So if God will help us. So okay, I will. But then we will consider all that. Don't worry, we will consider all that.
It's not about being worried. It's about convincing the student that to what you're saying. If you are here saying that God will help us, and if there is money, it means that me being a student wishing to attend an event that the SRC is organizing, I want to have an impact, I want to gain whatever experience that is going to happen.
Good. So I like
And there is
this.
a crisis. There is a crisis in terms of transportation.
Good.
And we are not factoring transportation. I'm asking you how you are going to give a practical solution to that. And you are saying that if there is money, you
Good. So I didn't say that if there is money, we factor that. No, I didn't say if there is money before we start factoring that. We will factor all those things into planning. But I'm saying, use the statement. You said, what if the student is willing to attend or is faced the first? Those type of students, based on my experience with students, they will reach out to you. That, oh, I want to come for this. It will be a very impactful project to me or something. When they reach out to you or any person in the executive council, I don't think any person in the executive council will say no to them. Definitely, they will be sorted. Not fully that something about it. So far as you are, let me comment this, so far as you are interested in attending SRC events, if there is any price, then you reach out to the executive council when we are doing it. Definitely, you will sort that out.
How about you?
I was okay until you tried to catch it.
How about that?
Talk to me about how you intend to secure sponsorships for your events if voted into power.
Once again, it's not.
Talk to me about how you intend to secure sponsorships.
Okay, so I have a theory on that as well. For you to be able to secure sponsorship, sometimes, or based on my experience, I realized that writing letters alone is not enough. That is why, as a student leader, you are supposed to be resourceful. So, it starts with you building connections with some brands, some organization, even before you have the idea of deciding to contest to serve the interests of the students, because you can have all the ideas, you know that we are in Ghana, you can have all the good ideas, the brilliant, but if you don't have good networks, good connections, securing some of these things is difficult.
So you have these good networks and connections. Do you have these good networks and connections?
Yeah, I know a few.
Have you secured sponsorships before? Any sponsorship before?
I can't secure sponsorships.
No. In any facet of life, it's not even about the organizing secretary position.
Okay.
Have you successfully secured sponsorship before?
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So when I was the president was Sergeant Popo, I was able to secure a collaboration, more of like a sponsorship between.
Was it financial?
It wasn't financial, but
Okay.
we got something.
So getting financial sponsorship.
So have you secured financial support?
Yes.
Talk to me.
The organization. How did I secure it? So as I said, it's leveraging on personal connection. So I knew somebody from the organization. I wanted this sponsorship to do something. I reached out to the person. So it's like the person was processing the whole thing for me. And because it's mutually beneficial, so I do something for them, they also do something for me. I was able to secure it. So it grew.
You mentioned mutually beneficial
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
So if you do have such a buy and sell philosophy, then why didn't you consider going for the financial secretary? Because it looks like you know how to give to get money.
Oh, so, okay, you have a fair point, but let me give you a practical example. When I worked in Charter House, I worked in 3 departments. One of the departments is the business development unit. And we know that Charter House is an organization fair. So we were not expecting the financial head to, it is the department, like those in the business department were the ones bringing the money into the organization. So for example, that is why over the years, when you check every organizing team that was being set up by the previous administration, we always have a team for sponsorship. You get it? So I'm not, doing finance is not my thing. I'm a strategist, I plan. And execute. That is why. So I don't have to necessarily be. There's more to it than. There's a big difference between being the financial secretary and the organizer secretary. This is what I look at. Finance.
The current central planning committee. Are you a member?
I'm not a member. First of all, I also want to ask. Okay, I can ask this.
You are a question.
Yeah. So, for example, the current central planning committee that we are having, it's not per the constitution once again. It's not really a central planning. It was a committee set up by the organizing secretary.
You said you had a question.
Yeah, so we are referring to this.
Actually, you were part of the central planning committee. You said no. And then you were about to question me. So I asked you.
No, I'm not questioning you. I'm asking for clarification based on the constitution.
You said you had a question. Are you still president of Salvador? You stepped down. Should you not do anything?
What's going to happen? If I don't win, I'm still a member of a service. I'm not an executive. Even when I was in 1100, I wasn't really appointed for any decision. I was able to start up an agency that was running across all institutions. So we still go to class and then pass our exams. And if there is the avenue for us to support students, we run it.
The people's organizing team built by students, powered by students. I will establish and increase a well-structured organizing team that represents every school or club in the student. Then he said, every student will have the opportunity to contribute ideas and volunteer in planning and executing major SRC activities, creating a sense of ownership. Then he went on to say, in the first 30 days, volunteers will be selected through an open application process and trained to support SRC activities. Don't you think there's a clash where you tell me that every student will have the opportunity to contribute ideas? Then now you have to tell me that they will actually be selected. So it's not every student, it's a selected few.
Can I come?
Yes.
Okay, so with regards to the selection, so with regards to when I say select, so under that policy, you see, in my earlier submission, I've been saying that the next organizing team that will be established by the organizing secretary, I'm not going to go for I know this person, I know this person. I will be open to the general public. If you want to be a part of the team, there's going to be a day that will open the office for students. And you know that nobody can be, not all the students can be a part of the organizing team. So if we select carefully those who are built themselves, when we are able to select them carefully.
So then not every student will have the opportunity to express ideas.
No, so with contribution of ideas, for example, before you run a project, even throughout this campaign, I've been getting some messages. Okay, when we are planning this, I want this. When we are planning this, I want this. So, word on campus, you get it. So, if you are able to get the students' ideas, so if you pay attention to those things and you factor it into your plan, it means you are hearing the students out. So, it means literally everybody will be involved. It's just that we can't have a team for all the students, but definitely anything that will be planned will take insights from students.
Now, talking about the second, connecting UniMAC to greater opportunities. So you are going to strengthen collaborations with other tertiary institutions. What then happens if you reach out to another institution and they decline to offer to collaborate?
Okay, so I think the only reason why a tertiary institution will try is when maybe the project that we want to do is not in line with what they have to do for the semester or something. And that one you can't force them. You expect
them window the second policy.
which is
The second policy.
that is the beyond minimum initiative.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, you are saying that it might not be in line with them, that's why they
Yeah.
yeah. So doesn't that then fight against the second policy?
Yeah, so that is why we approach them with a well-thought project that we know that it will align with this type of person, this type of group, then we will do that. So for example, let me give you a practical example. I worked on an event called the Gastro Festival. Now it was about celebrating farmers. We could have contacted a lot of schools, and even when we contacted UG, we did not contact the whole of UG. We consulted their agricultural department. So if you are able to plan the project well, know what the school stands for, I think it's supposed to be that.
Okay. Now, most of our events, I mean, we are a school that's majors in journalism and public relations. Yeah, journalism and public relations. All other forms are languages. And then languages, of course. How are you going to ensure that the programs that you run can cater for or cut across these departments and then ensure that students from almost every department can actually take something away from that conference?
So how you are asking, so let me, you are asking that how can the executive council, when I'm being elected, come up with an event that is going to suit all the expertise, right?
Yes.
Yes, so first of all, research, have an objective. So for every project, there's supposed to be an objective. So if you are having an event and the objective is to empower students, we don't really pay attention. So far as you're a student, we want this project to be impactful to students. So every student, it depends on how you communicate it to the students. And definitely that's why I said that when we are having a well-structured organizing team, if you have a well-structured, every institution is being represented. You're asking me that how will I said one, we do research, you understand, and we have a team consisting of members from each of these institutions. So when the president or the executive council decides to go for this program, we know that there are IL students, there are IFT reps there, and they are supposed to push the interest of the IFT students, IL students. Then we come as a team to unify that all these events, everybody attending from different institutions is getting something from that. So it depends on the exact project that we have. An example of a project that I have. And what should the objective be?
You said empower students.
Yes.
So let me say you are doing an event to empower students. You said it right. You said it in your submission. So let's say you are going to do an empowerment summit. This is a theme I'm giving you now. How will this benefit me if I'm an IELTS student? If I'm a film student, how will you I want a practical example. Me being a film student, okay, you do this because I'm a film student, I'll benefit from that particular thing with that.
Good. So for example, let me use this practical example that is happening in the school. So for example, there's going to be an event coming up, Concord. Now this event, I'm part of the team planning this event and pushing this event. So for example, with this event, we will have a debate section, and that debate side was left for the IU students. There will be a film, like the host would have to go and shoot a film and something. And that side, because the hosts are supposed to have members from IFT, IL, and IG, the IFT students are in charge of that. And the IL students, translation, storytelling. So you see, there's one event, but every institute is doing something. It's benefiting. So that's one part.
So you tend to steal Her Excellency the lady's strategy.
Please, on record. I'm not saying that I'm still. I said I'm.
I didn't say you said. I'm asking.
No, I'm still. I shall never be second. I won't do that.
So you're going to come up with something?
Yes. If the executive has
what is your what is your slogan, your campaign slogan?
together go on.
Together we go on. So if you take your slogan and you take your title away, what is that one thing that is, we mentioned the name Daniel Asante, you are going to be remembered for?
You are going to be remembered as the leader who was able to increase the interest of students in SRC activities. That's what
some of your comments, you seem to have experience in planning events, executing, or even managing events. You work with Charter House. Clearly, I guess you know Robert Club very well. Yes, I know. As a PR. Now,
you said as a PR?
Yes, or communication director, right?
No, now he is the head of live. He's the head of the live department.
Live.
So we have departments in Charter House. He's the head of the live department.
So who signs the PR? Any document outside?
It depends on where.
I have seen his name down.
Yes. So if it's for TGMA,
yes,
it will be done by audit.
So basically, what have you learned, or what impact have you seen that at least you will be able to replicate, say, in terms of event management? If you are given the money, I'm happy that you are organizing events during the SRC week. Replicate same thing.
Okay, so I've learned a few things. Working with Charter House, and the first one is always define your target audience. Know what, like have an objective. So if you want to come up with a project, an event, like have an objective, like what do you see to, like what do you hope to see that this project achieves. So that is one. Also define your target audience. So know the people that you really want to serve. You understand them before you start executing. So that's one thing. And the next thing is dealing with time management. Also dealing with time management. Making sure that you are able to communicate well, like assign who is supposed to do this, who is supposed to do that, like you assign, document it. That's one thing I'm learning from working with China.
No, the reason why I asked you if you have anger issues, sometimes when, as an organizing secretary, when you are planning an event seriously and it fails, you are easily frustrated. So you can easily flare, say whatever you want to say. So this brings me to a scenario. Okay, let's take this. You have experience. So in a situation where you pay an artist 50% upfront for an event, and you know some of these artists, how they sometimes appear in the public domain. Oh, will come. The assurance is there.
You've also notified the student body, Charlie, we are bringing this artist. You are taking this money. Practically.
On that day, you failed to come. The event ended at early. How will you handle such situations? Okay, so should I go with it?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so once again, based on experience, for example, with all the organizations I've worked with before, when we are either inviting an artist or something, we make it professional. So when I say professional, there is always a signed document and there is a clause.
Have you had a encounter with an artist who is unprofessional? Not in any way, but you've even signed documents, you've paid 50%, yet
They didn't show up.
yeah. You said you work with Charter House, and you know how these things come out.
Yes, but you see, so let me, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on camera. No, I'm not supposed to say this.
It's all experience. If you are not comfortable, but if you want us to learn from you, why not?
So, this is what if, as in my position, then it happens. Like, we made an artist with students' money. And the artist decided not to show up. So, me, I'll always go to an artist with an agreement. There will be contingencies. If you don't show up, this is what is going to happen. So that we are all fully aware of what we stand to lose at the end of the day. So that is one thing I can do. Reach an agreement. If you don't show up, this is what will happen. But if for some reasons, illness, accident, and the artist is not able to show up, first of all, the artist has to reach out, or I'll reach out to the artist. What happened? When a reason is being given, we see the way forward. So he can even do a video to tell me that, or tell the whole student, because he doesn't really answer to me, to let us know why he was not able to come. And those transparency, all these information will be shared with the students, and I think they will fairly understand.
Still on the other issues. You see, sometimes when you are working with people, it takes patience. And you are human, you can get angry to a certain point that you can't control yourself. But as a leader, you know, there are times that you are supposed to put your emotions aside and then work, make a decision as a leader. So in case, human beings can say a lot of things to you. I saw your comments on as a part of this. I think some days ago, I was like, ooh, like your response to me, it didn't sit well. So,
Please, I know why exactly you didn't say
So
so.
I
Maybe
think
I
it was-
used a
it
bad
was-
word or something.
it was, yes,
He said,
you made the point.
yes. And I'm asking that, you see, he said, she made a good statement. He said, it then sits well with her.
Yes.
So I want to know, like,
Okay, so
what
you
is
see,
that?
sometimes you would think how you are passing your information, the person should take it from your point of view. But we have different perceptions and different ways how we understand things. So I
Yes.
think it was about the UJ, the person tagged you, and it was about UJ. He wanted to run the elections like of Ghana and
Okay.
the person didn't, please let me land. The person didn't argue with you. And you passed a comment that it's okay you have a low IQ.
Good. Okay.
So in that, you see sometimes human being can. So
Yes.
I'm still on the anger issues.
Yes.
How would you handle certain internal issues, situations where students will come after you? Because there are sometimes students coming after you is not lightly. they'll come after you. You now, you say, oh God. So how are you going to handle such situation, not bringing your emotions to it?
So I would like to state this on record. Over the years, I'm intentional about everything I do. That is one thing about me. And one thing I've done for myself that I'm proud of is that I know how to control when to speak. For example, you said the person tagged me. On the record, the person didn't tag me. The person was just speaking about the fact that he is not seeing anything better in this section. Did you think that was offensive? Yes or no? Okay, good. So the person said that he is not seeing any better thing that like these aspirants are doing. Mind you, he didn't tag me, but as a student leader, do you understand? The constitution states that you need to have the interest of students at heart. Do you understand? So you making the communication school, let's be realistic. And I'm a realistic person. I don't deal with fiction. Like, let's deal with it.
Does that demand an attack?
No, it wasn't an attack. It wasn't an attack. Do you get it? But I was just trying to prove a point that we are communication students. We are the ones who graduate from school and end up as campaign managers for all these politicians. So what is wrong with we living up to that standard whilst we are still students? That was the point, at least. That was what I wanted to put out there. But if it was taken in an offensive manner, we ended on the good note. We ended on the good note. So it wasn't really, you see, sometimes we should know that as communicators, we should be able to have like healthy conversations. And sometimes when you want to come up with something, you need to research. You understand? If you research about certain things, you have to do this. Okay. Thank you.
I understand we are communication students, like you've been saying, and nobody's denying that fact. But then we are entitled to our point of views. That one you cannot say because how you think, the other person is supposed to think the same way you think. You understand? So sometimes you just have to ignore, or as a leader know how to approach it. Because using certain words like low IQ and all of that,
okay, that's fine. I agree with you.
Okay, well noted. Now, looking through your
Yes, it seems, or it looks like political manifesto that promises big but offers less. Prove me wrong.
Really, I even had 7 policies, but I decided to go in.
I'm saying it looks big, like political manifesto, which promises big, but the execution is less. Prove me wrong.
I'll prove you wrong. When I was doing the seats as a I promise you that.
Okay, my last question. I observed this, I don't want to say banter, but kind of a healthy conversation on social media about the school administration against the 6 UniMAC. Now, based on what you said about collaboration with other institutions, that came about. So, as an organizing secretary, if you should assume the organizing secretary role, such conversation, and you know as a student you are an ambassador to, how will you leverage that in order to, even if it's not a debate, healthy debate that you organize, to win them to our side, what else will you do? I hope you know the institution I'm talking about.
Yes, so what would I do to leverage that? Right? What would I do as a leverage to that? So, first of all, we can organize an event, a football competition, a debate, a news casting, because we were mostly concerned about the news casting and stuff. So we can organize something like that. And we all know that this banter was held, we were just having fun, we were also having fun. So we could leverage on that to coming from the point of organizing something, to organize an event or something to, just make it look nice. That's all the whole. Are you asking with regards to like you move to an organization for sponsorship and or you are referring to the fact that if there is no sponsorship, what happens? The second one. Okay, if it doesn't work, we will work within what we have as a school. We work with what we have. And if I can support my personal affairs and the affairs of
Can you make that part louder? Please, let's keep quiet. They say something very simple. You said you can help from your own pocket.
if I can help, of course I'll do that because I want to see the market there. So if I can help, if I have the resources at that point in time to do it, why not? I can do that. So, what are the plans that you have for IoT students? Because when they are not benefiting from their SRC, you don't. So, what are the plans that you have for IoT students? What events will you bring so that when an IoT student sees this event, she'll be like, I would like to be part of this. And when you give our organization name that leave this IoT students. Okay, so that is a very good question. This is very interesting. Now, this is what I have also observed. During my time as the Ghana as the co-president of Sakafabo, so under a short period, we were able to have students from IFT willingly reaching out to my executives and myself that they wanted to be a part of the whole. It means we did something right. And what was that? We made them feel like they are part of what? Of the whole. So translating that to the person that asked. For example, why will somebody go for a gig somewhere and decide not to come for it? It's because he's not seeing the relevance of what is happening. He needs his money. So why not, for example, we are IT students, and most of the time when we even want to run projects, we end up paying people who are not, whilst we have people in IFT who can do the same work. Do you understand? So if you reach out to an IFT student who is into filmmaking, and you want to shoot a content and you are paying the person, or you are able to reach a good agreement with the person, I don't think nobody will say no to that. You understand? So just will make everybody feel like we are part of the movement. Because I went there personally, and the reception I got from the IFT guys was great. Because I used to think they are not interested in election, they are not interested, but the reception I got from them, not for my candidacy, but for this upcoming election for some people, it was good. get it? So I think they are two separate things. They are not the same. Because there were people who were handling PR. We had people who were chairing the committee. So teamwork was good. Our personal preferences. Like, what do I think about it? Okay, so I don't really think it was the fault of, the executive council. I mean, they did what, because I heard that at some point the president had to go to classes to speak to the lecturers that, oh, this is happening. Can you please allow this? And it wasn't allowed. So you see, there are certain things that we can't control. But things that we can't control, we have to do what to inform like transparency. So I don't think it was entirely the fault of the executive council for that. I think they had a great plan. Everything was planned out, but it's just one of those things that you can't really do. I don't know if UniMAC students, I want to say a very quick thing for sticking to watch this conversation. There is more coming. I'm going to go to a YouTube live so we'll have more discussions outside school. So just,